Hello, YouTube. Today I have a call with Kashyap from India. He is starting his new e-commerce store, and he has a bunch of questions about how to operate his LLC, some questions about registered agents, and avoiding these VAT taxes that they're paying in India. So let's get to the call. I'm sure it's going to be really exciting.
Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up.
Wow, I mean, seriously, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough.
I'm glad you're enjoying the content.
I mean, I was searching for it, Googling it, watching YouTubes and everything. But I mean, I wish I had encountered you earlier, but I mean, I actually registered the LLC yesterday itself. And I spent whole night on YouTube after doing it. I thought maybe it's a rash decision, but I mean, I just came across your videos and prompted me a lot of questions all of a sudden after knowing the reality. And
yeah, I think it's still a good decision to use the LLC. It's just now you're learning more about it. So what are some of the questions that you have for me? Because I think you have some questions, right?
Sure. So one of the questions that I have is that would I be able to change the registered agent if I'm stuck with one vendor where I've registered my LLC? Because there are a lot of websites using these services.
Yeah. So can you change your registered agent after selecting one? Okay. So the answer to that question is that yes, you can. You generally pay for it for a year at a time. So when you renew your LLC next year, you would be able to change your registered agent when you renew your LLC.
Sure. So I can just go to any website and just subscribe there, pay there, and they'll need the details and. Okay.
Yes, each registered agent will have their own procedures, but generally when you renew your company with the state, you would change any information that changes. So if you have a new registered agent, maybe they can renew it for you and change it that way.
Perfect. Now my second question, which actually not worries me, but of course, I mean, a doubt that I have is that while they register my LLC, I'm assuming they're using their own address, the registered agent address. So on papers, does it reflect that my LLC is registered on this particular address?
On what papers? What do you mean?
The paper of the LLC and everything. I mean,
Yes. So yes, when you register an LLC with a registered agent, that's the address. That's why you need a registered agent to give the state an address in the state that can receive mail from the state. That's why you need a registered agent.
Yes, of course. I mean, following up that question is that, I mean, the LLC is registered for a specific address, which gonna remain permanently there.
No, like I mentioned, if you register your LLC in one address, you can always change it and usually change it the year after. Most of the LLCs that I open with my clients, we have a registered agent and then you have a mailing address. You can have both addresses. Most people, like, you can't use your registered agent address as a mailing address because you'll never get any mail there. They don't accept mail from anyone but the state. So you have to get a separate mailing service if you need to accept actual mail.
Sure. So one of my question was that, I mean, is it possible for me to use the same address, which is the registered agent? It doesn't matter whether I get mail or not, but just on maybe the website, payment processors like Stripe.
Sure. Yeah, people use their registered agent addresses for different things. Sure.
If they are getting mail or any return, I mean, I'm sure they're not going to tell me or respond me. Even if they do, I mean, I don't need it. I mean, any of the mail they're getting it. I mean, would they tell me that why you given the address and things like that?
Payment processors and other things might want your home address, and they might want your business address, and they might not accept the registered agent address. But I can't tell you who will or who won't accept it because, you're not the first person who's thought to use his registered agent address for everything. And some payment processors, they obviously aren't stupid. They know what's going on. So if they want a real address, they might follow up and ask you for one. That's what I find with most of my clients who are using payment processors and US banks and things like that, is that it's kind of inconsistent how these different well, it's inconsistent because they change the rules all the time, how they operate and how they manage what information these different companies need.
Sure, sure, sure. No, thanks for this, James. I mean, my next question would be, I mean, it is more related to them actually, where I registered the LLC. But when I was reading, it says in Wyoming, because I've registered in Wyoming, it says their annual report fee is $50. And but when I filled the form, it says that they're gonna charge my card with $100, including the $25 registered agent charge. I mean, is that? I mean, I don't get the calculation, a breakup of it.
I'm not sure. So you're asking about like the cost to renew the company?
Yes, sir.
There are so many different smaller companies that will renew your company for you and tack on a little fee for it. So if you got a letter that looks very official or something like that, then it's probably another company that's charging you to renew your company. You should just work with your registered agent and have them renew it for you, since you need them anyways. And it might $50 sounds low. I'm not. It's different for all kinds of companies, corps and LLCs and everything. So it sounds a little low. Usually it is around $100, and then you have to pay the registered agent, so it's gonna be around 150. I know in Delaware it's 350, and I think it should be more, a little bit more in Wyoming, but yeah, I don't know. You can check with the state website to see the exact cost to renew, but then you also have to work with your registered agent because you need to pay them to use their address. That's the whole point of why, you know, you need them. You need to have a registered agent.
Sure. Thank you, James. I mean, my next question would be, I mean, so if I were to, because I was just watching a video and you told me that you don't have to have a physical presence in US in order to avoid these taxes.
You
Have,
can't have a physical presence.
yeah, I can, but if you don't want to pay taxes, then you should not do it.
Exactly, that's right. If you don't want to pay taxes in the U.S., you shouldn't have any physical presence or employees or offices. Correct.
Yes. So does the mail forwarding service, which virtual address in US, box address services like USA box services we have, so does this count as a physical presence or quote unquote operating business in US?
So your question is, does the having a mailing service count as having a physical address in the U.S.? I don't believe it does. I think that if you rent like a WeWork space and you have an actual office space, then maybe. But if you rent just like a box or a right to use space or something, I don't think it's an actual office in the U.S. I think it's just a mail service, and they're not working just for you. They're in the business of doing that, of providing mail forwarding services. So since that's their business, it's not a dependent agent; it's an independent agent.
Yeah, because I was thinking that any which ways, if I buy a mailing address, a virtual mailing address or any mailing address for my company, it would be under my company name, my LLC name. So maybe people will get to know, okay, you know what, this is registered with your LLC. That means your LLC has a mailing service here, and it counts as a business. I was just thinking on those lines.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument there that you wouldn't have to pay anything. I think you'd win that argument.
I actually did not get the last part. Could you repeat that, please?
No, I'm saying that I think if the IRS were to challenge you and say, hey, you have an address here, I think you would be able to win the argument based on the fact that you're just paying for mailing address and they're in the business of doing that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, thanks for all this. And uh, okay, so I mean, since I have one LLC, and maybe in future, of course, I'm gonna have multiple stores. So how would people? I mean, I've heard people saying that, you know what, I'm operating this store under this LLC, and this store is under this specific LLC. So how would we even know, or anybody would know? Because any which ways, I'm not going to register this store officially to any paperwork of LLC. So how would, is that just the amount is coming in the business account counts as that this is operating under this LLC?
So I'm gonna repeat the question again because just to confirm. So you want to know if you should have a separate LLC for each online store that you have?
No. So what I'm trying to ask is that, I have an LLC, a mother LLC, of course, my main LLC, and I have multiple online stores like Shopify stores or any website.
Uh-huh.
Now, people generally say with one LLC, you can own multiple line of businesses or multiple stores. Now, how would anybody would get to know officially that this particular store is associated with this LLC?
Why do people need to know what about your LLC at all?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Of course, even I'm the one who gonna know it. Even how would I even know it? I mean, it's just
Well,
like
you know it because that's how you're getting paid. I mean, other people don't need to know what stores, who's the official owner of their store. They'll know on their credit card statement when they pay you. It'll say who the payer is or who they paid. But I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't see your business is e-commerce. So having multiple stores doesn't preclude you from using one LLC or multiple LLCs. If you have big stores and successful stores and you want to separate the legal liability, you can own separate LLCs and have separate bank accounts. But if you're just starting, then you can probably use the one LLC for all of them.
sure. Okay. Now, when it comes to uh, Mercury account, so I am planning to go for a Mercury account. Uh, do I was just watching, watching your last video. You said that use your Mercury card as much as you can, just to make sure that you're not pulling money in case you want to avoid taxes in your home country as well.
Yeah, I mean
So,
that's a country by country recommendation there. So when you ask like, should I use my Mercury card? That it depends about your home country taxation. A lot of people want to bring money, their profits to their home country so that they can pay their bills and buy stuff. But when they transfer money in, they have to pay tax on it. If you don't have to pay tax on using a debit card, then use your debit card more.
let's just say, for instance, I use my Mercury card in my home country. So the merchant will get to know, okay, this person, Kashyap, did not make a purchase, but this LLC made a purchase. So nobody even get to know that I am the one who's doing a purchase. It's a company, which is a foreign company who's doing it.
Yeah,
That's how it
exactly.
works for me. However, I'm going to be charged international transactions.
Yeah, I generally we have other banks that we use that are better for international. You could use a TransferWise card. There's other, I don't know the currency transactions, but for cash withdrawals, generally they're at the bank rate. So I find that if you're going to withdraw cash with your debit card, then you get a better rate than if you were to use like a foreign exchange person. So it's not like you're losing that much money. It should be at bank rates.
Sure. And this, does this Mercury is officially, I would say, considered as a US based bank, or it's just the services online? Like,
It's a U.S. bank, yeah.
okay, it's a US bank. Perfect. Now, my
It's a
biggest, go
subsidiary
ahead,
of
go ahead.
Evolve Bank and Trust, I believe.
Yes, I read actually two banks they have a tie up with World Bank and Trust and FDI. I think DCI or IC kind of a thing. They're working.
Yeah, look at the Bloomberg profile now.
So where are you actually, James? I mean, in States.
I'm in Miami.
Miami.
Oh,
Okay.
Evolve Bank is been around since 1987.
Wow.
Huh.
Great.
It serves U.S. Clients.
Yes. So there is a last video, James. You were interviewing a drop shipper from Siberia, and that guy actually got an ITIN as well with the IEN. So I'm a little bit confused. I mean, could you tell me when do I need ITIN?
When do you need an ITIN? You need an ITIN number when it like Stripe or PayPal asks you for it. If they need it, then you need to give it to them. It's not always requested. Sometimes it is. It helps you apply for different credit cards online. It's much easier to apply for credit cards with an ITIN, and an ITIN also allows you to start establishing your credit in the U.S. because you can link all the cards that you have to that tax ID. It allows you to file US tax returns if you want to file protective returns to take a position that you don't have to file taxes in the US. And it just acts as a US Social Security number, but it's just an ITIN. It's the same purpose though, and the same concept.
So in my, I mean, considering my situation, I actually got the LLC and the IEN number. And since I'm not paying taxes, so generally I doesn't necessarily need the ITIN, but if I want to, can I get it?
Yeah, of course.
And you were talking about that you need to be a resident for 280 days. I think you mentioned in the last video, or maybe some number of days.
No, you don't need any there's no residency requirements to get an ITIN. You just need to send the IRS your passport or a certified copy of your passport when with the required forms.
Okay, perfect. So I'll get the ITIN, but I mean, even if I get the ITIN, I don't have to maintain it or maybe any kind of charges or anything like that.
You have to probably, like the way we do it, you have to pay a little bit of tax to get it, and then you also have to renew it every 2 or 3 years. Technically, you don't really have to, like, I don't know if like the IRS tells people it's invalid after that time. I don't know how the system works, but I know they require you to renew it for the IRS purposes. So if you don't file a tax return in 3 years, then you'd have to do the request again. But you would already have it.
Perfect, perfect. So building up on that question, James, I mean that's a lot of info and very useful, of course. Since I'm not going to be paying taxes because it's a foreign LLC, so would they not? I mean, would they be able to give me ITIN? And if in case they can, then I'm not paying any taxes. So I mean, is it? How does it work? I mean,
You can get an ITIN without paying taxes. I mean, you have to have a reason for filing a tax return in the US. So you have to show a little bit of income and pay some taxes. Otherwise, if you don't have a reason for filing a tax return, they're not going to give you an EIN, and they're very particular about these forms. So it's we still get letters that are sent back. The copy of the passport's not good enough, or the information is not good enough, or whatever. So we still get them sent back sometimes. It's the IRS most difficult form. They don't accept it. All that they're really particular about it, and they take a long time to process it.
sure, sure, sure. But generally speaking, these payment processes work with IEN. I mean,
EIN, yes,
EIN. I'm sorry about that. EIN, yeah.
yes, they do. I mean, generally, you should just try without it first, and then if you need it, you can go and get it. It's just if you, I mean, in parts of our packages, we just include it in all packages so we can get it for people so that they can start requesting credit cards, things like that.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I just want to inquire. I mean, the people I'm sure would be watching and about your mini course. How much is the cost and where people can access it?
Yeah, I have
How,
it. So the mini course, so our Form 5472 mini course is I say mini because it's just not that long. It's like 2.5, maybe 3 hours of content, which is kind of a lot for one simple form. It's not that
sure.
simple. In any case, it is available. It's not as formal as it's going to be. Right now, it's just a payment link, and then you get a link to the a Google Drive folder with all the videos in it to just view. So that's how it is right now. It's going to have its own page, long form sales page, and whatever in the future. And I'm working on it, but right now I just want to get it out. So it's $347, and what I was including is my reviews. So once you watch the videos, the second to last video says, now that your form is done, send it to us and we will look at it. Here's how you send it to us, and then we'll respond if it's okay or not, and then we'll show you how to fax it.
Perfect. So, which means that this mini course includes your last review as well. That you're gonna.
Yes. You watch the videos, prepare the form, and I'll look at it, make sure you're not missing anything.
Perfect. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm sure you're gonna help a lot of people out there.
I'm hoping, because when I was doing it, I'm charging $12.50, and then now I have this for $3.50, basically, that includes a review. You can do it yourself. So I think it's a pretty good spot for that.
That's correct. Okay, and thanks for this, James. And Okay, now a little bit about sales tax.
Yeah.
Let's just say I pass the threshold. Uh, Now, what do I need to do once I pass the threshold? I mean, is there any specific service I need to go for, or I can do
Where
it
are you
myself?
selling? What are you using? Shopify or Amazon or what are you using? Where are you selling?
It's Shopify and ClickFunnels.
Okay, so neither of those do sales taxes for you. You're gonna have to find um, plugins, different plugins or services. So if you're selling on ClickFunnels or Shopify, those aren't natively going to collect sales taxes for you. Whereas if you sell on Amazon or eBay or the bigger companies, they collect and remit all the sales taxes for you. So on these, on like Shopify and ClickFunnels, you need to find either a plugin or keep good track of where you're shipping everything so you can register in every state you have to file in and then start collecting and then start submitting. And what I would recommend you consider is using like in your ClickFunnels funnel, having the payment page be the Shopify payment page or have a payment integration with Shopify so you have all the payments in the same spot. Because I'm
Okay.
sure you can input an HTML payment thing from Shopify into ClickFunnels.
Of course, of course. So what you are okay? So I got that part. So what you're trying to say is that use my click funnel as just to that people can see and view and explore things. However, when they order, it should go directly to Shopify. So,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
that I
I do whatever you have to do to increase your sales. What I'm saying is, try if you can use Shopify to do all the payment processing, it'll be easier for tracking sales and sales taxes than if you use both.
sure, sure, makes sense here. I mean, these plugins in Shopify will only help me to calculate the sales tax as per states, but they're not gonna file it for me, or would
They
they?
might. I don't know. I still am trying to figure that out. I think that there are. I don't think they will, but they might assist with it heavily. I'm sure that like this is such a huge thing right now. This sales tax law is only 2 years old, and everything moves a little slow, and there's not a lot of money in sales tax yet. So everyone's trying to figure it out because honestly, if you never pay, most states wouldn't even know or wouldn't even figure it out because you're just selling stuff online and people just buying. So there's no reports that go out, so the states wouldn't really know like
Yeah,
offhand.
sure. Okay, and is there any way I can get instead of Mercury, maybe like a Bank of America, the way I get Mercury? I mean, without even going there yet,
No, no, you have to travel here and come see the bankers. They want to see you.
because the only situation is I haven't got my passport yet, and the Mercury also need the passport if I'm assuming right. So
All banks. Well, you need a passport to travel out the U.S. So another option used to be affiliate banks, but most U.S. banks have become all U.S. They took out all their foreign branches.
okay.
So if you can find a Citibank in India, then you can go there and try and open a U.S. account. But they haven't been that easy to do it that way in the recent
I
years.
do have an account in Citibank, of course, in India, right? Currently.
Oh, so if you have an account in Citibank India, you
Uh-huh.
should definitely talk to them and see, hey, can I open a U.S. account for my LLC that I have, and just keep putting the pressure on and calling a bunch of times until you get someone that'll help you. That's the only option. Maybe you can do it in the branch. I'm not sure, but that's a way you can pursue. Citibank's good. I use Citibank.
That's amazing, bank. I mean, that's the only bank I would say that can, I mean, have a great service in India. I mean,
Ch- yeah,
I've looked.
well, Chase is better for in the U.S. I think Chase is better, easier to send wires. But Citibank's good too.
Sure, that's. I agree with you, of course. Okay, now one question. I'm a little bit confused about it because when I was running my ads in India, it charged me the GST. We have a tax system here, GST. And I'm sure the America has their own ways. So when I run the Facebook ads, they're gonna charge 18% here. So as per our Indian taxation, it was 18% GST.
Well,
So
this
in the
is
same way, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is the reason I talked to a lot of Indians. This is the reason that you want the LLC so you can pay this
Yes, sir.
with your LLC.
So yes, yes. So the only question is that I'm gonna be using my Mercury debit card to pay the Facebook ads. Is that correct? Is that how it's gonna be?
Sure, yes. Or PayPal debit card, whatever card you can get. Yeah.
Okay, and they're gonna still charge me tax.
No, there's no
The Facebook.
tax. There's no tax in the US for that.
Okay, there isn't any. Okay, perfect, perfect. That's what I always
Yeah,
wanted to know.
so for snippet purposes, you asked me if there's any VAT tax or additional tax for paying for Facebook ads in the US because they're in India, there's a 18% tax when you pay for Facebook ads. In the US, there's no such tax. So if you're paying for Facebook ads, you should use your US LLC to avoid that 18% additional tax, which is already makes it worth it, right?
Amazing, because I'm paying 18% tax, and then money is I'm getting a payment Indian payment processor, Stripe or PayPal. They are, I mean, are getting my money to India, and they are applying those conversion charges. And then again, once the money comes to India, I again pay to US to Facebook, and again it converts. So it's back and
It's
forth, back and
it's
forth.
it's a mess. It's like that in a lot of countries. It's just that's why you already opened an LLC. You already know.
Sure, sure. So pretty much, I think you've covered everything, James. I mean, I'm really thankful to you. Uh, everything is almost covered, yeah.
I'm happy to help, and best of luck for you and your e-commerce business. I hope you do really well, and let me know if you end up buying the course. That would be pretty cool. I'm trying to get my foot into this course stuff. Eventually, I'm going to put out a course about basically just going over all these different questions and things that we're going over. Is just like how it works and what company
Sure,
you should open,
sure.
things like that. So yeah, I got
If
still
you
putting that together.
want any assistance, of course, I'll be of any help making your landing page. I can do that for you, of course. I mean, just a gesture from my side, of course, if you want to, I can
Yeah,
do that.
that's nice. Thank you so much for the offer. Yeah, if you have any other questions or anything that you think that would be valuable content, just let me know that too, because I'm trying to continually put out better content and eventually figure out how to make some money off of all this content too myself, right?
Your the way, I mean, that's really amazing. The way I like, I mean the way I like about your videos is that whenever you watch any, I mean, YouTube videos or Google or do anything, you will only find one person giving their own broadcast. But here is a real situation with real people.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fun,
that
right? I like doing the calls.
it's not fake. It's actually real and genuine day-to-day situations people are and entrepreneurs are facing right now.
Yeah, it's really fun. I got to get into more because all these calls have a lot of recurring themes. Obviously, someone just opened an LLC, but get more into like business aspects of it. But this is good. I like this too. But I actually have a call in 1 minute. I have another one, so I got to get off the phone. But thank you, Kashif, for Kashyap.
Kashif, yeah, that's correct.
Kashyap. Thank you, Kashyap, for your time and for the call. And you'll see yourself on the YouTube channel shortly.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Great
You
day
too.
ahead.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hello, everyone. I think that call went really well. We went through everything with Kashyap, and he answered all his questions. He seemed pretty happy, so I think the call went well. If you learned something from the call, please give me that thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. It's really helpful for the channel. If you have any questions for yourself, comment below. And also, if you want to have a call with me like Kashyap did, you can go to the description and just schedule a call with the links in there. I'm actually, for the next 2 weeks, if you're watching me like live or right after posting, I'm going to be pretty busy in the next 2 weeks, but just go forward a little bit and pick a day, and I should be available. So looking forward to speak to you all, and thanks for watching.